So continuing along, we're going to talk about how we can sort of take a data set and do some simple visualizations, right? So we'll start with importing some of the libraries. Of course, pandas is going to be something we have to import or have to bring in every time we start. There are two data visualization libraries which we will be using to do visualizations in Python. Okay, in R there is a very R is another language, by the way, you can use. There is a pretty good library called ggplot2. Okay, so that one is I don't think there is any comparable version or comparable option in Python, but I guess we'll use what we have now. So matplotlib is the default visualization library in Python. Seaborn is sort of like a layer on top of matplotlib, so we'll basically import both. So we'll import the pyplot module out of matplotlib as plt. Okay, so just to give you something to import every time you deal with visualization are these two libraries. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll read in that lone data set we had. I think you probably encountered that at some point. This is like a Upstart is a company which does loan based on credit scores and all those things. Okay, it's like a lending company. Okay, so this is the data set we have, and we're going to start with one numerical variable. Okay, so one numerical variable would be, in this case we are going to look at loan size. Okay, so let's see how the loan size is distributed. Okay, so we can start off with plotting a histogram. Okay, we'll talk about what KDE is later, but for now we'll use it as false. And when we say distplot, sns.distplot, because we are going to say import Seaborn as SNS, so everything when you are doing plotting is going to start with SNS. sns.distplot, and you will see a histogram. Okay, and histogram, so what is a histogram? What it does is it basically breaks this range. So it looks at this loan size column, and it looks at the range of the values in that column, and it breaks that range down equally. Okay, so it breaks it down into small increments, and let's say 8200 falls somewhere here. It's going to take that one instance of 8200 and it's going to put it here. Then say $22,000, it's going to put it here. Okay, and the longer the bar you see, the more of a count you have of a loan size falling in that range. Okay, so for example, around $10,000 is being borrowed by the maximum number of people in this data set. Okay, which is around 1,000 and so, and the next one is around 5,000 and so on. So okay, only a very few folks have borrowed like $50,000, okay, or $40,000. So this sort of gives you, instead of reading this column and trying to decipher, you get a pretty good picture of what is going on with the distribution of loan size. Okay, we can also define our, so here it is basically using some kind of a rule called Friedman-Diaconis rule, and it comes up with the bin size and all those things. You can specify your own bin size. So here we are saying that let's do bins of 20 bins. Okay, so now it is going to discretize this range of loan size in 20 different intervals. Okay, and it's going to bring in, so right away you see that a lot of these things which were in this range are being jumbled up into this column. Okay, or in this column, you see, and that's wider with more count, because it's now taking into account counts from the left of 10,000 and the right of 10,000, because it's a wider band. Okay, you can also add labels, and when you are adding labels, you start off with a distplot and then you say plt.title, because you're bringing in matplotlib as plt. Okay, So you can add labels like this, and you can customize it. So there is a lot to it, and if you want to, you can technically spend a lot of time just doing visualization. It's a lot of fun, okay, and I love to do that. Unfortunately, you don't have a lot of time to quickly deliver things and insights if you had to, right? So you'll just get by whatever you need, and for the rest of the stuff, you can always Google, or there is a Stack Overflow you'll come across all the time. Whenever you have a question with respect to a particular feature in a library, you can just go look it up. Okay. Okay. So here we are saying that bins of 20, and we change. See, we added count, we added loan size, and so, right? So you can pretty much see what the problem with histogram is, right? You see that you can get a pretty decent picture of what is going on in one plot. You can hide a lot of details in the other plots. Like for example, you don't see the spikes here, and so that's a feature which you don't want, because you can sort of hide a lot of details in there, right? So is there a better way? Okay, and we'll get to that.